Okay, hold on, wait, I need to talk about this game. I was pretty excited for Iconoclasts. It's been out for a little while, but I wanted to wait for the Nintendo Switch release. Little did I know that this cutesy, quirky, wonderfully animated little adventure would actually be one of the darkest, most emotionally impactful games I've played in quite a while. I won't be spoiling things in this video, and I'm only going to show the early game, but I do want to quickly talk about the experience. So Iconoclasts has you controlling the silent protagonist Robin, a young mechanic girl in a world that seems to strictly adhere to two major religions. One's more prominent than the other. Despite the upbeat music and the colourful forests, there's a slight edge to the story even early on, as people's homes are razed and families often perish for disobeying the laws of Mother, head of the main religion. What appeared to be a predictable setup was carried along for me by some interesting characters, although the plot did eventually get twisty and contained a lot of surprises. Everyone in this game is flawed, and often unlikable and misguided, and that's really interesting to me. Everyone has their problems and makes huge mistakes, but you can always understand them. You can always relate or even forgive because they act like real people would in a stressful situation. Except Elro, screw that guy. There are two scenes especially which were borderline haunting and perfectly executed. And there were some others that used gameplay mechanics to directly drag the player into some majorly difficult moral choices. Although usually they aren't really choices, they're just presented as such to arouse a sense of desperation. There was one boss who I genuinely did not want to fight because of what they had been through already. It felt like they were justified to be angry. It felt like I wanted to find some other way, any other way where I didn't have to fight them. In fact, I delayed actually doing any damage to the boss for a good while. That's some good writing that really blends with the gameplay. For those who may have played the game already, I'm talking about the boss that keeps saying, "This is my rocket," while banging on the wall. I know that sounds pretty weird out of context, but you'll get it. Speaking of bosses, there's a lot of them and they're all great. They're mostly what I like to call puzzle bosses, where the hardest part of the fight is actually just figuring out how to actually hurt the boss, and the actual skill of moving and shooting comes second. In fact, there's a lot of puzzles in this game. So much that I would go as far as to call this a puzzle platformer rather than like a Mega Man-like game, as I first supposed it to be. It's kind of an interesting hybrid. The art speaks for itself, but I like some of the details, like how the foliage is made of geometric shapes, until we see plants from the old world or other ancient objects or technology. I love how expressive such small sprites can be too. And each character, even the minor ones, have a lot of different animations. You can tell that this was one man's vision over the course of 7 years. The coherence of the story, despite its complexity, and the complexity of the world building, really speaks for the love poured out by the developer into this. Also, this game has a crazy ending which might divide a few opinions. I did quite like it myself. Anyway, yeah, this is just a short video to say go buy this game. It's on a bunch of platforms, it took me about 8 hours to beat, and it was a really good time. Anyway, this has been Nate, and more videos will come soon. Hope you enjoyed, subscribe, and I'll see you soon.